again. How did that happen again? I don't know how that happened again. Even though I added us to the stream. So, how you doing? We got a lot to cover today.
Do we?
I think so. Yeah. Well,
That's much better.
I was talking to the parents today, and they were trying to find out where we were moving to
Hmm.
because
So we're gonna give you guys a few minutes to come on because we're talking to no one right now. So just give it a minute.
so yeah. So yeah, it was a busy weekend.
Busy,
Busy weekend.
crazy. This is going to be the last time we're coming to you from this area in the
Yes,
house.
from this area.
Yep.
We are moving to our studio
AKA spare room.
next week. Next week. Um,
Actually, we're probably going to move as soon as we log off on this broadcast. But for next week's show.
If you saw, I started working on it already, um, moving the lights and everything over there. Now, this is what's happening here.
Welcome, everyone, to Monday Night Tweed Talks. We thank you guys for joining us tonight. And as Pedro mentioned earlier, apparently we have a lot to cover.
Yeah,
Talk about some adventures
yeah.
over the weekend.
It's always an adventure here in the Tweet home. You never know what we're gonna be doing,
Never know.
who we're going to be talking to. But the one thing that happened is that we moved our daughter up to Albany. She moved to Albany,
Hmm.
and everything was going fine.
Yeah.
Getting everything, all the furniture in and everything.
And she didn't even have that much stuff.
No, not even that much stuff
Yeah.
left. But then we all got in the elevator, and the elevator got stuck.
Oh my gosh. What?
And you know how teenagers and the young people are.
Millennials.
Gosh. One minute seems like an hour.
Yeah, because her friend kept saying, we were stuck in there for over an hour. It was about 35 minutes.
35 minutes, but it still was, the first 5 minutes they were going over an hour. Hey, let me out! Banging on. So I kept thinking that it was the fire department coming to get us. So we want to thank the Troy Fire Department.
Shout out to Troy Fire Department. Yes.
Yeah, that came and got us out.
For coming to literally shut the power in the elevator and open the door.
And open the door.
There were 6 people in the elevator, a queen-size mattress, and a bookshelf.
I think 2 bookshelves.
There was only one at that time, just the dark brown one. The other one we took when we finally escaped from the claws of the elevator. Yeah.
Anyway, apparently that the sensor from the elevator didn't want to open up the door, so that's what happened.
Oops.
Okay.
So it was fun.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And so we get back home, and Pedro's like, "Oh, so when we going on our next adventure?" I'm like, "We were just stuck in an elevator for 35 minutes, and we're gonna go on another adventure."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
what is life for an adventure?
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of adventure, every time that we meet, people keep asking me, "How do you get these guests?"
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is that everywhere we go, we meet people. Everywhere we go, we meet new people. And
the story of how we met Brent.
This is how we met Brent.
Is so
funny. We were sitting there, and we're sitting there by ourselves, and he and his lovely lady came over to us.
Hi, Janice.
Came over to us and started talking to us, and then and the funny thing is that he said, "Where are you from?" And then I said, "Well, we said Monticello." Monticello. Do you know a guy named? Move you a little bit, huh?
I'm sorry. Am I in your way? I'm sorry.
I didn't want to hit you. And he said, so do you know this guy named Slam?
Who doesn't know? Who doesn't know Slam? Like, really? Everyone does.
And of course, we told him, yeah.
Yeah.
And the friendship started from there. Then we went and saw Slam together.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk too much more. We're going to bring them on. And we also have Charles, that's the co-writer or the play, The Gate.
Mm-hmm. Tonight, our guests are Brent Bruell and Charles Moore. Okay. I see Brent ran away, but then he ran back when he heard us call his name.
I was stretching to see him. To see him. Okay, so we're going to bring
Next
him
time
on.
you just sing.
I was singing. Hello, Brent.
Hi, how are you?
I'm super good.
Very good.
Hello, Crystal.
Hi. Do you want me to be in the frame, or are you just going to cut me out of the frame?
I don't know. There we go.
Oh, I'm there. Okay.
Okay,
that's better.
Now you can see me.
Yeah.
Well, we were telling our audience how we met you, and
yes.
We immediately started talking, and we had a great conversation, and
beautiful.
We had
always
ever since we see each other. I was going to put a whole bunch of pictures because I didn't realize how many pictures we had taken together with your wife. I said, "Wow, that's a lot of pictures we're taking together every time."
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, so we've had great time. I expect Slam Ellen to drop in on this conversation any moment. So,
that's so funny.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
How have you been?
Really good.
We haven't seen you and your lovely wife in over 2 years.
We left New York City on March 12th of 2020 and came up to the country and have been here ever since because we did not want to be in the center of COVID. And we had the opportunity to be here, which has been really wonderful, really wonderful.
Yeah.
And sure. That's a lovely fireplace you have there.
Oh, thank you. It feels good too. It's cold tonight, so
I bet.
Yeah, we actually had a beautiful day today after having a crazy weekend of ridiculous snow.
Did you have just like incredible winds there on Saturday night?
On Saturday night.
Saturday afternoon and evening?
No.
Oh.
Yes, it was. Remember when you went out to blow the snow with the snow blower, it was blowing back into your face, so you had to come back inside.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
We had the biggest winds that I've experienced up here, so just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing, but it's funny how it gets cold and then it gets warm,
and the next day it's 50 degrees.
Yeah, it's changing like very rapidly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring Charles in, and then we're going to talk about first your life, and then we're going to talk about the play.
All right.
Okay.
Let's bring him in.
Bring Charles in.
Hello, Charles.
Hello.
Welcome to Tweed Talks, Charles.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely.
You look like you're relaxing there.
I am. Am I frozen?
You're not.
No.
Oh, okay.
You're not frozen.
Yeah, you're actually moving. So let me ask you, first tell me about yourself. Where you from? Where were you raised?
You asking
me? Or Brent? I know, as I said, me or Brent.
All right.
You start with Brent, then we go to Charles.
Okay.
I grew up in Southern California in Orange County. Disneyland was my backyard. And I was there for quite a while. Then I moved up to the Napa Valley, had a restaurant in the Napa Valley, and then moved here to New York and just felt like I had found home. So that's been where I've been. I've been producing and directing here in the city for about a little over 20 years. And have done everything from off Broadway to Broadway, and which brought us together.
Yes.
Since we were all working in similar veins and knew similar people. And then for 10 years, beginning in 2001, I taught theater inside maximum security prisons here in New York, and which is how I came to meet Charles, because Charles was currently incarcerated at the time, and we worked together for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Shows inside, which was great, wonderful times that we had, and then continued our correspondence, of course, after I was not there anymore. And that led to a collaboration, which we'll talk about.
Okay.
Yes.
So Charles, tell us a little bit about yourself. Were you born?
Okay, sure. I was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee, but
wow.
I was raised in Buffalo, New York. So I moved to Buffalo, New York when I was 3 years old. And Buffalo's been my home for quite some time. Unfortunately, I lost my mother to a homicide at age 3 when we first moved here. So we didn't have quite the welcome to the city of Buffalo that one would want. And I was raised by her brother and my grandmother. So I stayed within the family, which was truly a blessing. Thank goodness I didn't have to go through like the foster care system. I have 2 siblings. One is younger, one is older. So, and we're all boys. And we did the best we could. I was in and out of group homes by the age of 10. And because me and my uncle and his wife was not getting along, I sensed jealousy because they started having children. They were ignoring us. And, you know, if you ignore youth, youth will find people and things that will get their attention. So I started doing mischievous things, stuff in the street. But McDonald's saved me. So I actually got a job at McDonald's when I was 15 years old, which was the best job I would say that I ever had in my life, because it really, really taught me a lot. This is back in the early 80s. If you guys can remember, McDonald's was popping up on every corner in the neighborhood. So I was lucky enough to get a job. So that was the start of that. I went to grammar school and high school, but I did not graduate high school. I failed earth science, and I will never, ever forgive earth science for that. But I was very embarrassed because I was my senior class president, and you know, senior class president didn't graduate. Who does that? So out of shame and embarrassment, I never went back to get my high school diploma until I became incarcerated. I became an alcoholic by the age of 18. I was drinking. I did street drugs, marijuana, crack, cocaine. And in 2000, I found myself in a very unfortunate situation where I took the life of someone and ended up in Sing Sing Correctional Facility for 17 years. However, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I'm not proud of the circumstances that led me to prison, but I will say that prison saved my life.
Wow. That is so powerful.
If that makes any sense. It did. It actually. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, just reading through your bio a little bit, it says that you work in, you're the director of operations for rehabilitation through the arts.
Yes, which is a life-saving program where I met Brent at, and I'm also the first alumni to be hired by that program. So it's
right.
Wow.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, it's a true honor to work for the organization. Of course, all eyes on me. So but I know I enjoy what I do. It's one of those jobs that you dream of, where if you have a job that you enjoy going to and doing the work, then it doesn't seem like a job.
That's wonderful.
So Brent,
Charles served as production manager on many of the shows that I worked on inside. So we worked together all the time.
How did you get started on this, Brent? Working
Inside?
Yeah.
It was a progression. I was working for Al Sharpton with National Action Network for about 3 years, and became increasingly aware of the relation between racism, incarceration, and the power structure in the country. And so when I had, and was also working with a homeless advocate, Anthony Williams, and Picture the Homeless, he came literally from living on the street to living with my wife and me for several years. And that put us in touch with the homeless population of New York and working with them. So when I had a chance to connect some of these things and begin teaching inside with RTA, Rehabilitation Through the Arts, it was just like such a natural to go. It just felt like this is the thing I wanted to do because it connected all the things that I was working on. And my profession as a theater director, but then also my passion being to change this whole system of incarceration that we have, the imbalance in the so-called justice system, and what has led so often to incarceration, which is homelessness. So there were all those things came together, and nobody could have kept me out of there. That was, and it still is. It's the thing I've loved doing most. There's nothing that I have enjoyed more or cared about more than that work.
So Brent, what was the reception like working with these young men that are incarcerated? What was the reception like when you're trying to teach them about the arts?
Well, it was quite, it was wonderful, to tell you the truth, and different, having been one of the people who grew up watching shows like Oz and Jimmy Cagney and things. What I met inside was so different. The brotherhood that I met inside was so different. And I'll tell a quick story. The first night that I went in, though, I was supposed to go in with 2 people, but for various reasons they couldn't go in. So they said, just go introduce yourself to the guys and take it from there, do some warm-up exercises, and we'll come in later and start the rehearsal. And so I was a little nervous. I was in the schoolhouse. I walked through the door. There's 60 guys in the room, and nobody knew who this blondie with the ponytail was. So I said, my name's Brent. I'm an actor in New York, a director in New York, and there's plenty of time to find out who I am, but let's just do a little exercise. So I said, let's do an improv. Now, why I chose to do an improv right away rather than just a basic acting exercise, I don't know, but I did. So I said, just imagine that you all are coming into the yard and greeting one another. And then in a couple of minutes, I'll add another element. So the guys are milling around, high-fiving and bumping fists and stuff. And I said, and this shows what a novice I was. I said, okay, a beef breaks out. Now I'm thinking 2 guys might push one another or do something. Instead, out of the middle of the crowd comes this short, stocky guy glaring at me like a missile headed towards me and goes, "You got a problem? You got a problem?" And I'm like, and he's charging at me, and I'm thinking he's either going to kill me or he's the best actor I think I've ever seen. I better take the latter. So I'm coming back at him. I go, "Yeah, I got a problem with you." And we're screaming, we're cursing at one another, we're slamming into one another. We're just, I thought it lasted an hour. I think it was about 45 seconds to a minute. It's like you being stuck in the elevator. And finally we'd slammed into one another, and I'm running out of curse words. I couldn't think of any. I'm just like, and I all of a sudden just blurted out, "Ya mama." And I heard everybody go, "Ugh."
How?
And I thought, I'm dead. And I closed my eyes, expecting the worst. And all of a sudden, I heard this noise. And it sounded a little like what I'd heard in the theater when people pound their hands together. But I looked up, and all the guys are doing that. And this guy goes, "Man, that was great." And he comes up and gives me a big hug. That turned out to be Cornell Alston, who's become like my brother. I mean, he's somebody I know as much as anybody in this world. And that was my initiation, my first night in.
That is hysterical.
The experiences there were so deep, and to see people who most of the men had never been to a play, certainly never been in a play, and to see them even reluctantly begin to take a look at a script and then come back the next week and go, "Well, you got another one of those?" And to start seeing that opening up that takes place, and the wonderful cooperation, and finding out that everybody can work together, everybody's got a job to do, and it's not a competition. It was just, what a wonderful experience.
Wow. I bet.
Yeah.
So Charles, how did you get to collaborate with Brent on the writing?
I actually, when I was still incarcerated in Woodburn Correctional Facility, I had actually started the process of writing the play. And I did a lot of research because during this time, parole was really, really bad for violent felony offenders. They weren't letting us come home. And if you understand the parole system, it is guided by the ideology of the sitting governor, and we were still suffering the residue of Governor Pataki, who was not letting violent felony offenders go. He was keeping people incarcerated to keep jobs up in other parts of New York State that didn't have jobs up in the rural. So he was holding people inside of correctional facilities on a get tough on crime, and I'm going to provide jobs campaign. So it was very, very unfair. And backstory on that, I think I told you that I did not receive my high school diploma because I failed. What subject did I fail?
Earth science, because I failed it too.
There you go, bing bing. Right, I failed Earth science.
I failed it too.
But anyway, the moral of that story is that I went to prison at age 34 without a high school diploma or GED, and I left with a master's degree. So my time was not wasted while I was there. And when I ended up in a medium correctional facility, I really had nothing to do. I said, wow, someone had mentioned us writing a play about parole back when I was in Sing Sing, but I know that message wasn't for me because I'm not a playwright. So I gave it a try. I did a lot of research. I interviewed people. I did a lot of research. I interviewed people. I just did probably maybe a year worth of research before I actually put pen to paper. And then I just went every day. I was writing. Then I would test stuff out. One of our good friends, both me and Brent know Phil Hall, who's a great playwright, and he actually gave it a role. He said, "Yeah, you're onto something. Keep going." And so I just kept going. And when I thought I was done, I just put it away. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I said, "Okay, I'll put it away." And then, I said, "You know what? Let me send this to Brent and see what he thinks." Because Brent has always been very honest with us throughout his relationship with us. Either your stuff is good or it's not, but he doesn't tell you it's not good and not point you in the right direction where you can improve it. But he's not going to tell you that you have something that is, just a bunch of words. So I sent it to Brent, and Brent had it for a while, and I was like, oh, he's still red penning it. And then I got a letter from him, and it was one of the most uplifting letters that I have ever received during my incarceration. And he was telling me how much he really enjoyed reading the play. And of course, it wasn't 100%. And it was all these things that I could do to improve it. And I took everything Brent said into consideration. However, I was about to be released at the same time because I had already went to the board and I made board, so I was about to come home too. So I was like, this timing is not good. Da, da, da. So I didn't act really fast with the instructions that Brent gave me. When I came home, we got back together again, and granted, I told you I was from Buffalo, which I am, but I got released to New York City because I got the job with RTA. So imagine doing 17 years of incarceration, being not dumped off, but being released to New York City, which you never have stepped a foot on these grounds before. So you talk about traumatized.
Right.
My first 30 days was like crazy. So I talked to Brent. I said, listen, Brent, I can't make all these changes and recommendations that you are suggesting. I said, if you want to be co-author with me, let's go for it. And Brent was honored. He said, sure. And we became co-authors of the production, the play.
I worked for about what Charles sent me, I loved. I felt that it really had the bones of what would be a revolutionary play on the subject of parole, which is people don't know about. And I don't know of too many dramatic works that are about parole. There are a lot about incarceration. There are a lot about people in transition, but not the issue of parole and what people go through. So this featured individuals on the inside and what they endure during the 1 week as they face the parole board and then wait and then get their decisions. Wow. And it's a high tension thing. So I worked for about a year. I did 2 developmental readings of the play during that time, in which it changed structure a very great deal. And then it's been quite a while. We didn't move forward until I don't know, Charles, was it till Mary Anna Houston stepped in to produce? Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So Mariana Houston, who is in alliance with Engard Arts and a program of theirs called Uncommon Voices, is producing this major reading that will be at the Gerald Lynch Theater, which is the beautiful theater on the campus of John Jay College in Manhattan. It will be directed by Ro Body. I pronounced his name Bodie once, but it's Body, who is with the National Theater of Harlem, and a wonderful actor, and will be a wonderful director for this show. So we're very excited. That's going to, and I'll just tell you, we keep mentioning the dates so people can know. It is on April 12th, which is a Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, there at the Gerald Lynch Theater. And there is a website to go to, which is the Ungard Arts website. We can give that. I'll shoot that to you. So I think you have. Do you? Do you have that URL for that?
Let's see. I don't think we have that.
Okay, I'll get it right to you.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
So I think one of the unique things when I was thinking about writing this play is that I wanted to kind of show people, because they think we just go to the parole board and get denied and, we go back to our cell and cry, which we do. But, we actually really, really, it's probably the last 2 years of your incarceration is probably your most rough, especially if you have to go to a parole board, because it's not like you're guaranteed to walk out the door. So it's like, oh, here comes and we call it, in a sense, now the games begin. Because either you're going to make parole or they're going to play this deuce thing. So one of the features that we talk about, and actually the play opens up with a parole class, because we prep each other to prepare to face these strangers that will decide your fate. And one of the things about being on the inside, And when you go through these parole prep classes, you have to be honest with your peers. You spend 25 years being a tough guy, and now you're getting ready to go to the parole board. The parole board knows everything that's in your folder, what landed you in jail. And you have to deal with that in your parole prep class, because that's exactly how the parole board is going to address you. So I wanted to show that, and we actually do 3 hearings within the production, and then the climax for me, which I thought I would add, is the effect that parole has on the family, and that's depicted a little later in the reading.
So how did you feel writing this, Charles? I know it had to be almost therapeutic for you.
It was therapeutic. It was therapeutic, and it was very and it actually believe it or not, I wrote this play before I went to the parole board. So it was kind of prepping me also, because I was also in a parole I was also in a parole prep class, and that's where I got a lot of stuff from. And then I was prepping myself, and I just hoped that April 12th would one day come, because as Brent had said, you see a lot of movies and you see a lot of plays. I was just at a talk back. I don't know if you guys got to see Clyde's with Uzo Adubo. She did a play about second chances not too long ago at Second Stage. And I was at a talk back for that. And then Brent mentioned the others, Oz and stuff. There's plenty of movies about parole, but there's really I never seen any dramatic thing done. They even have I've seen a channel that's called Parole, where you have people going before the parole board. I don't know how true it is, but this is the closest. But I'm so excited about April 12th that if it doesn't go any further than this reading, I think we have done justice to at least try to bring some awareness to this issue of parole.
It's a huge thing, because first there's the matter of parole itself. There is what a person any individual can ask for themselves. If I had to go in and present to 3 total strangers in a period of less than 20 minutes, what justifies my being alive, a human being, and free, you would have a sense of the anguish of going before a parole board, because it's 3 people who don't know you, and you have to, through some documents and then through answering their rather rapid fire questions, somehow convince that you have a right to have a life. And it's harrowing. So we're dealing with that in this. We're dealing with the situations of a person who did not commit the crime for which he was convicted. What does he do? If he goes in and keeps saying, I'm innocent, they're never going to release him. Wow. So how does he deal with it? There are all these situations. But then there's the other matter of the relationship of these men. And one of the things, a Broadway producer just saw the play last week, or read the play last week. And the thing that she came back with, she said, the brotherhood that I see in this, she said, there's such a brotherhood. And that is one of the things that really surprised me as I spent time inside, how much there is a support system, how much people care about one another, how much there's a strengthening of one another, that always gets left out when things about prison are dramatized.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is authentic, and you'll see it. And I dare anybody to see the end of this play and not sit there and weep their eyes out, because it's so touching and moving and beautiful. And based
really looking
all
forward.
on truth.
Okay, I saw something in there that said that it's free.
It is absolutely free. And there
so people cannot complain about the money.
Yeah, you can't complain about the money. This is a free performance. We want to educate people, and that's why we're doing this. The chance to see it in its infancy now is a great one. And there's also a link, and I sent it to you.
I just received it.
If people go on, you can go on the link, read a little more about the play, and you can also RSVP, which will give you preferred seating at the show. But it's still free. You don't have to do anything.
It's still free, and one of the reasons that they set the link up for us too, because they also would like to have a running count of the amount of people, because that word free can be it can be dangerous. So they would like to have a running count. So they've asked us to ask everyone to RSVP so they can have an idea of how many people are going to be in attendance.
Because we don't want to disappoint 6,000 people waiting outside.
Wow, yeah. Then someone will definitely have to pick it up, and we're going to have to just run it.
Yeah. You want to post that? We're going to post a comment from one of our viewers, Saoirse.
Okay, so we have some
we got a question?
They're making comments.
Oh.
Some people were meant to cross paths in life. It's great you were able to meet each other. And this program continues changing lives for the better. Oh, so she gave us all a compliment.
That's great.
I do believe that too, Saoirse, that Charles and Brent were definitely meant to cross paths. I believe
you
that
bet.
as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm with us too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm with us too. That's why we're here doing the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
it's been so good.
G. Youngman says, thank you both for coming on to continue this conversation on injustices. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've had an occurrence Charles and I were just talking about this in Manhattan in the last few days. There has been, or in the last short couple of weeks, there was a terrible murder committed by a person who had been paroled twice and was in the city. And one of the things everyone should think about is you have men inside who are truly prepared themselves to return home. And then something like this happens. It's a high profile case. And they go, oh, this person was a parolee and they committed this crime. What that does to men inside waiting to face the parole board is really terrifying, because they know now the press is repeating and repeating and repeating this crime, and politicians are scared to give support, and the word will go out, don't let anybody out now.
Parole anyone, yeah.
So it's a real problem.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be clear, and I always state this, like in my presentations that I do for my job and everything. I am not against the Department of Corrections. I'm not trying to bash the parole system. I just ask for a fair system, just be fair, because I know a lot of times people come up and they say, well, what about the victim? What about the victim? And the victims are not disregarded. The prosecutors, when they sentence you, represents the people. So if the courts say that your sentence should be 25 to life or something like that, and you agree to it, that's what it should be. And then the parole commissioners come back and they have this power to determine whether your life will continue, whether your life will not continue in free society. And sometimes their decisions are just not fair. That's all we're asking for, is a fair and just system.
Yes.
For the last 5 months, a young man lived with Janice and me here, who was just released from prison after 21 years on a 17-year sentence. He had a good record. He had everything, but he was hit at the parole board 3 times and was not released until the 4th time he appeared before the parole board. So everything fell apart for him. He was planning to get out in 2015. His family was supportive and things. And in the years when he was denied parole, his parents died. The business that he was to work with ran into difficulty. I mean, it's just a horror. And then to see what he went through in those 5 months with the obstacles that were put in front of him in transition, it's another eye opener, and that's another play. So,
yeah, whew. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But the play is also funny, uplifting.
Oh,
I think
sure.
I think people will have a wonderful time, and we're going to have a great cast.
I'm going to go to that link, and I think we definitely need to make it a nice trip into the city to definitely come.
Oh, good. It would be great to have you there.
Weather's going to be great. Weather's going to be great April 12th. I'm claiming it.
Okay.
Right, yeah, claim it, Charles. I'm
claiming it.
Yeah, my mother lives close to there, so I choose to
visit. Save your money because it's free.
Yeah, but we'll save it for the gas.
But dinner will not be free.
No.
Call it a date night. Somebody's getting hit.
Yeah, we get lots of those over there.
Yeah.
So, how's Janice?
Janice is great. That's my wife he's asking about. She's wonderful. She's a remarkable woman. I said, like I said, we just had a man live with us for 5 months who was just released from prison. And I don't know a lot of wives that would have welcomed that with open arms and such a welcoming and a supportive attitude. And that's been what it was. It was when homeless people lived with us, when other people have, that has been how she is, and her support for my work with prisons and everything has been great. And whenever she had a chance to get into Sing Sing or any of the performances, she was there, and that's how she met everybody, So men coming home.
And she opened up the home to us with a couple readings.
Oh, okay.
Brent, she opened. Yeah, we had a reading at her house as well. So that's right. Denise is quite the host as well.
Well, I tell you, the first conversation that we had with Brent and Janice.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at this.
That's nice.
You found them.
That's with our friend at the home of our friend Claude Del Fara.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
A wonderful producer.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, when a conversation, I mean, when you meet someone for the first time, and then my wife was doing audition at that time. I don't know if my wife remember this, but I clearly remember that you said, well, if you have to go in the city, we have a place in the city you could stay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I said, wow, but he just met us. And just the openness that
just so wonderful.
How you accepted us right away.
Yeah.
You didn't know who I was, even though everything out there is on the internet.
On Google.
But Pedro, now I do know who you are, and you're still welcome.
Oh, that's very kind, Brent. Very kind.
That's even better. I feel like I heard that before. Yeah, and you're just that type of person, that type of soul, and you don't find too many people like that today. When you find them, you have to keep them making your friend and do anything. I wanted to promote this just because you were involved with it,
Well, thank you.
Because of the type of person that you are.
Yeah.
And we just hit it off right away.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're doing this type of work because,
And COVID has really interrupted our getting together, I know, which has been rough, but it's nice to be able to keep in touch in other ways, and very happy to see all the beautiful work that Crystal has done, and you with your gymnasium. The other day, Pedro did a FaceTime call with me from his gym with all the kids that were learning to do acrobatics. And
Aw.
so he wanted to talk to me about this, but they're all going, well, let us show him this, let us show him that. And I got to see a whole performance of tumbling and high bars and all kinds of things. It was great. I loved it.
Aw.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's so
You
sweet.
were working. Yeah. My wife is always working, but that's good. That's a good thing. It's not a complaint. So listen, we definitely want to take the trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we want people to take the trip, especially, you know, my brother lives around there.
Yeah.
I want to tell my mother too, you know,
Yeah.
because it's just a hop and a skip away, as they say.
A stone's throw away.
Right.
Yes.
So we would love to go and see it. And the reason I wanted to do this now is because I wanted people to know ahead of time.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we want to put we're going to put the website and everything after this is done. And people that are watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe.
Yep.
Because we have lots of shows that we do.
Before we let you guys go, Charles, drop the name drop the name of the play, where it's gonna, where the reading is, and wait, no, I want.
Yeah.
I know we have it. I just want to say it. And the
So
time.
the play is going to be held at John Jay College, Gerald Lynch Theater at 7 p.m. And we suggest that you get there early because we would like to start promptly, so that because we have a very lively talkback scheduled for after the reading. And as if we know about overtime, we don't want to be charged overtime because we went beyond the time. So if everybody can get there early so that we can get the show started on time, and then we can have quality time to have some Q&A at the end with some of the actors that performed the reading. Brent and I might come up. You could talk to the director, but we expect a lively discussion about parole. Again, that's April 12th, John Jay College. Go ahead, Brent.
Oh, it's Tuesday night, April 12th.
Yes.
Tuesday night, April 12th. There we go.
And it is free, but we're asking people to RSVP so that we'll just have a running count of how many people we are expecting.
And if you go to the link that Pedro and Crystal are going to put up, that has just a button you can click and respond right there.
All
Bada
right.
bing, bada boom.
Bada boom. One last
hi,
comment
Max.
from
Thank you.
Gian says, thank you both for coming on to share your wonderful stories.
Oh, you're
And
very
I am
welcome.
going to second that. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Charles, for coming on to Tweed Talks.
Thank you both so much.
Yes.
This has been an honor. Thank you for having us.
What a pleasure. We'll see you
Thank you,
soon.
guys. We'll see
Thank
you
you so much.
soon.
We'll
Yeah.
see you soon.
Right.
Keep doing the great work.
Thank
We
you.
will try. Thank
We'll
you.
try.
Bye.
Have a,
You too.
stay safe. Thank you, Brent.
Bye. You too. Oh. Wow, that was interesting.
That was just wonderful.
Very
It
interesting.
was just wonderful.
Can't wait to go and see the show.
Okay, so that's a
And
that's a
we're gonna take you out
weeknight.
to
It's
dinner?
very hard to get you out of the gym. So are you saying live on Facebook that we're going to be going into the city on a weeknight
Well,
for this production?
we'll pay the coaches double time. I think that, what is that? Is that a Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
Well, we know ahead of time, so we could definitely get a coach to cover. And you know how my daughter, if we're doing something in the city that's important to us, she will say yes, unless she's working. Okay, so that's our show for
Oh,
tonight.
look at this comment from Ji Young. She says,
Oh, okay.
"Oh, she said you did great when you were on last week by yourself. You see, my voice is back, but I'm still like a little bit nasally. But I feel so much better. I had a terrible head cold that caused, sinus and laryngitis, and it was just not good. But
yeah, but she sounds better today.
Here I am tonight.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Signed, sealed, sinus sealed and delivered.
I just love Brent
Just,
and his wife. So I'm glad that we had to.
I just want to put them on a slice of bread and just eat them up.
When we have the couple thing that we did before, we had to do that one again.
Yes.
We had to bring them on as a couple
For a couple's show.
because that was a fun show too. This was very interesting, informative, and I'm sure that the play is going to be very interesting.
Oh my gosh.
For some reason, I was thinking in my head, Netflix.
From your mouth to God's ears.
For that play, yes. Okay, so we're going to say goodbye. We're going to say good night.
Adios, te veo.
Si me lo dice, te lo creo.
Buenas noches. Thank you guys for joining us live on Tweed Talks. We will see you next Monday.
And do you have the name for next Monday? Do you have the guest for next Monday?
Yes, I do.
Do you want to announce it now or later?
No, we'll announce it later.
Okay. All right. So we'll see you, and as always, love, peace, and harmony. Bye-bye. Have a good night.